Well, happy Tuesday today. What we were just chatting about before we quick record, for those that listen later, is this passing of a bill in the Canadian Parliament to approve statehood for Palestine. However, as I'm understanding it, went through a lot of different amendments. It's sad. It shouldn't have even been brought to the table, let alone passed. But as we know, it doesn't really bear any much weight. It's just not good for Canada. So I just bless all the Canadians to keep praying and that Canada would stand with Israel and that would not waver. I've had moments of bring back Stephen Harper, but anyways, God knows what he's doing. So yes, and Ari just told us, Ari Sacher here is going to speak in just a moment, told us that he has Canadian citizenship. So that's amazing. And for all of you in California, some of you are just waking up because it's 8 a.m. for you. My daughter and son-in-law and grandkids are there right now. So be at ease with all that rockets that were shot last night. They are not nuclear bombs as my family thought initially, but 22 Starlink satellites that Elon Musk sent into space from California last night. So praise the Lord, they are not nuclear. All right. So Ari, we really, really appreciate having you on. You give us great food for prayer fodder. So tell us the State of the Union address in 15 minutes. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much, Patricia. Let me just give a quick update of what's going on in Gaza. In Gaza, we have well and truly captured the I would call it the capital of southern Gaza, which was Khan Yunis. It cost the lives of a lot of Israeli soldiers, but we have Hamas does not rule anymore in Khan Yunis, and that was the center of their rule in southern Gaza. Northern Gaza, it was Gaza City. And Gaza City has now been, obviously, the north has been taken over, and I'll talk about that in just a minute because there is no free lunch here. On the other hand, there is still the question of Rafiah. What has happened is that all of Hamas has Hamas's ruling few has gone to Rafiah. Hamas still runs Rafiah. And the problem with Rafiah, or Rafah as they call it in English, is that it sits on the border and the border with Egypt. And the problem is that it's porous. The border is porous. It was shut down for a while when Al-Sisi first came in Egypt. He shut it down, and he actually flooded the tunnels. There were tunnels, just like there were tunnels in Gaza, there were tunnels exiting Gaza. There were no tunnels exiting Gaza to Israel because we had this border fence, which did not serve its purpose. On the other hand, there is there's open access into Egypt, and Egypt does not manage the Sinai Desert, which is what lies on the other side of Gaza. They own it. They do not operate it. Gaza, the Sinai Desert, especially the northern Sinai, is what the Israelis fondly refer to as Al-Qaedistan. You have hard right Sunni Muslims that are running the north of Sinai, people that think similarly to Hamas. And there is, or at least was, a very, very lively weapons trade. Israel has apparently been working with the Egyptians to get them to staunch it. I don't know whether it's been staunched. What I can tell you is they discovered caches in Gaza of North Korean weapons. Okay, the fact that the North Koreans are selling to Hamas is not surprising. I mean, you have this axis of evil, and we can call it what it is, an axis of evil of North Korea, Iran, Russia, and China. These are countries that think differently than the United States do. They're not freedom loving. In fact, the Russians just had an elections that were won by Vladimir Putin because he was essentially the only guy running. It's really wholly unsurprising that he won. The problem is with northern Sinai is that not only are North Korean weapons coming in, we are afraid that Gazans are going out, specifically high-ranking Hamas officials being able to go in and out of Gaza. We are concerned that some of the hostages will be smuggled out through Gaza. So it's absolutely critical that we plug the hole that is that is Rafah. And Benny Gantz, our I believe he's our Minister of Defense now. He put it well. He said that putting that defeating Hamas without taking over Rafah is akin to putting out 80% of a fire. You put out the 80%, the other 20% is going to bite you, especially if you douse it in fuel and you inject a lot of oxygen, and that's exactly what Rafah does. So we have to enter Rafah regardless of what the Biden administration says. I feel that the Biden administration has been a bit too eager to voice their opinions.
Yeah.
We are a sovereign country. We will do what is necessary to fend for ourselves, cognizant that we receive a tremendous amount of American support, be that diplomatic support, be that military support. I believe that the people running the show in Israel are fully willing and to um, thank the Americans for their support. But when it comes to winning this war, we cannot win this war unless we go into Rafah. The question is, what do we do with the people that are there? There's more than 1 million people that are there, and what people are planning on doing is they're planning on moving them back up north into what they're calling refugee islands, and these will be essentially displaced person camps, and they will remain until Rafah has been destroyed. Problem is that our friends and neighbors in Hamas are heading back north. I don't know how they're doing it. Their tunnels, obviously, we haven't completed it because while we captured the Al Shifa hospital in Gaza, and we were convinced that Hamas brass was hiding out there, we discovered a tunnel network beyond our wildest dreams. We did that in November. Well, guess where we were 2 days ago? Capturing the Al Shifa hospital again. So what this means is that Hamas is coming back. Now, we want to defeat the Hamas. We want to destroy the Hamas. You can't destroy every single Hamas person, but you can destroy Hamas's capability to rule, Hamas's capability to manage Gaza and to officiate. That is what we have to do, and we're going to have to keep on going back and back. And it's whack-a-mole, but this is not just whacking a mole. We're going to be whacking moles for a very long time. But Hamas brass was hiding out in the Al Shifa hospital. We took out one of the top 10 Hamas figures in the Al Shifa hospital a couple of days ago. So the war is being won. It's being won slowly. We're into our 6th month. In the last 2 days, 2 Israeli soldiers have died. Tragically, one of them was 51 years old. I don't know what he was still doing in reserve duty. Most of the reservists are out of Gaza. Some of the reservists who were in Gaza that were released are back up doing their yearly reserve duty. And the yearly reserve duty starts in January, and they pushed it off because of the war. But people are going to be doing about 40 days of reserve duty each year. Good friend of mine, he was in Gaza from October the 7th until 2 days before the Super Bowl because he came to my house to watch it. And he just went into the army last Sunday for an extended period of time. He's going up north now. So things are tenuous here. As always, we're at a tipping point. As always, we need your help. As always, we need your prayers. But as always, we will fend for ourselves and we will be successful, whether or not we have the backing of the United States of America.
Yeah, it's grievous when we heard what Chuck Schumer said, but I think it's very clear that the majority of Americans are standing with Israel and decrying and just saying how horrible this is. What I do believe it's going to cost them an election, which I hope it does. But anyways, I want to mention something that there was Talia Gimbel is from Samaria, a Jewish woman. She had a great video. Jason shared it with some of us. But anyways, this was such a good point when she was talking about way back to when Saul was supposed to, of course, eliminate the Amalekites, and he didn't, right? There was this thing of save the king and I have compassion on the sheep or whatever. Obviously, that was a great error. But then even in the days of Purim or Esther, remember they asked for another day, give us another day to fight to be able to really accomplish these goals. So doesn't it feel like a modern day repetition of we cannot let them go or let Hamas go, or we need the time. We'd be great if it was only a day, but you know what I mean? Obviously, this makes total sense to take the time to accomplish these goals now. But go ahead.
I agree with you. Patricia, there are parallels in the Purim story. In the Purim story, what happened was
go lay down.
Oh, somebody,
The
can you
place.
mute yourself?
your
Hello,
place.
hello, hello. Mute yourself. Somebody's talking. I'm trying to find you. Janine, please mute yourself. Okay, go ahead. Sorry.
what happened was that the Jews had defeated most of the Persians in the Persian Empire, but the stronghold of Shushan, the capital, was
Yeah.
not yet defeated. And Esther approached the king and asked her for another day to defeat the people that would have killed the Jews in Shushan. And we need another day to finish
Yeah.
up in Rafiah. So and I guarantee you, just like in Purim, I mean, everybody who stood up against the Jews, I don't believe was defeated in 2 days. I guarantee you that there were pockets of resistance that remained for
Right.
a long time. But what happened was on Purim, there was a sea change. It was no longer the message of the Persian Empire that the Jews must be exterminated. The message of the Persian Empire was that the Jews and Persians must live together in all of the 127 states of the 127 of the Persian states, that coexistence was going to be was going to be the law of the land. And that's what we have to have. We have to be given the time to do what we need to do. And I believe
Yeah.
in the future, the only kind of Gaza that will survive is a Gaza that's educated to coexist with Israel. That's going to take a long time.
Absolutely. And we have, oh, it's 10:15, so I want to let you go. But one last point. I was just reading the book of Job recently again, and I couldn't help but draw a lot of parallels. We've got Job, like Israel, Satan's, asking permission to sift, to destroy, whatever. But then I'm thinking about the three sorry friends, because their blame was all on Job, right? And it does not feel like the nations right now blaming Israel for genocide, colonization, purposely starving. We could just ask, wouldn't mind asking that quick question. Anyways, so I just felt like there was so many parallels. And yet, of course, Job was restored in the end to double restoration. His children, he lost 10 children, he gained 10 children. Anyways, that's my prayer. Could you just speak for a moment, because it seems so atrocious to accuse Israel of not filtering food, because as we see it, there seems to be a whole lot of trucks there, but isn't it more looting? Or could you comment on that for a moment, the food?
Absolutely. That's patent nonsense. I mean, it's been proven time and time again. What's happened is, I just sent something today to on our to my USIEA friends that it's a picture of the shuk in Rafiah where they sell food, and you see in the shuk you see food that was provided by the UN. So you think, wait a second, this food was
Oh,
being provided free for Gazans, and now people are selling it. I
wow.
mean, that's just horrific. No, this is all abject nonsense. Israel is allowing food to come in. The United States is building a pier off of Gaza. They're going to send in support via there as well. Um, we to accuse us of starving the locals or genocide is simply atrocious. It's simply outrageous. But
Wow.
we're continuing down the path we need to continue down, and the only support we really need right now is American support. We've been down this path before. American diplomatic support and military support. We
Yeah.
need it. We could live without it, but we don't want to. And I don't think we deserve to live without it. I think the U.S. should support its ally in fighting a war that the U.S. would have needed to fight. This is a fight against Iran. At the end of the day, while the Israeli soldiers are fighting with Hamas terrorists, this is a fight between the forces of good, the West, and Iran.
Absolutely. I put in the chat the USIEA again. You can get linked up to make sure you get the emails. I love your emails, Ari. Please keep them coming. Very insightful. We just did a one on the pay to slay. Just a lot of inside information that's super helpful. So I'm going to go ahead and stop recording, but I just